Yes, they have a lot of high-level rituals and very sophisticated rituals that go back to antiquity. They still carry out some of the same rituals that were done in ancient Egypt by the pharaohs, and rituals that go back to ancient Babylon. The names that they give themselves, their ritual names and everything, go back to the ancient gods, the ancient mystery religions.
Intriguing. We're coming back, and I'm going to attempt to sit back. I want you to go through this and go through any of the gods, the names, and again, more of who they are, what they are, where they want to take us, how we can defeat them. Fritz Springmeier is our guest. If you want his book, back in print, big time, it's available one place, Infowars.com or 888-253-3139.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done has been right.
We are, of course, selling Bloodlines, the Illuminati. I've read some of his other books. Only a few of the others are in print. Find out more at Infowars.com. This is a short segment, long segment coming up, Fritz. I want to give the number out for later in the hour for people that have questions for you. But please, so we can get to several callers, 5 or 6 callers, folks, just have your quick question ready so Fritz can answer it or give you his take. 800-259-9231, 1-800-259-9231. We'll also have some financial questions for Bob Chapman coming up. And this will be the first of many more interviews we do with Fritz. We had him on a few times back in November. Now he's back with us. Okay, Fritz, continuing in this short segment with the mindset, you were getting into their rituals, going back to Babylon, back to Egypt.
Okay, great. I'm going to take this kind of in a direction that's going to answer several of the questions that you had. We had a scandal that took place in Belgium, the Dutroux affair, and the Europeans discovered that the Belgian government was involved in satanic rituals and pedophilia. This all involves the mindset of the elite, and there was a humongous scandal. About 110 people were assassinated to keep a lid on it. Now, here in the United States, we had the Kennedy assassination, we had 9/11. Those are entry points for people to learn that something's wrong. But even closer to the heart of things was this Dutroux affair, where they actually discovered the satanic connection to all of this. Because a lot of people realize, Wall Street has a lot of power. These people, the big mucky mucks, they go to places like the Bohemian Grove. But like when you were in the Bohemian Grove, you notice that there's something else going on here, It's not like these people are just atheists that don't have a religious side to them. When you saw Cremation to Care, you're beginning to get a window that there's something more to these people, right? So the scandal exposed the satanic side of this, and how the governments in Europe were protecting this huge network of child slavery and child prostitution. They would have pink ballets in this castle that I exposed. And so the book that you've been presenting to people, Bloodlines of Illuminati, that came out in '95, it was the first place where the public got a real good look at that Mother of Darkness castle. That's like a headquarters for the female branch of the Illuminati. That's where the grand dames like Bill Clinton's lower than Hillary Clinton in the Illuminati. Hillary Clinton becoming a grand dame, that means that she would travel to this castle and do rituals. And the castle was also used for murdering children they have rituals there.
And by the way, this is the reason they came after you so much, and separately it's now come out in the news that Hillary does weird rituals. Same thing with Tony Blair. Francois Mitterrand had admitted does worship Lucifer. Had that pyramid at the Louvre built with 666 pieces of pink glass. Tony Blair reportedly, this is mainstream British news, flops around and is possessed by the spirit of light every morning, flopping around and goes to sacred sites worldwide. I mean, these are complete lunatics.
Yes, this is the hidden side of it all. We see the nice, good front where the press shows these people as in their suits and ties and looking intelligent and wise. But then there's this ritual side, this hidden ritual side of them. And like if you're someone like Hillary and you're going to the Chateau de Ameroy, and I don't speak French, so I probably butchered the name there, but it's a castle that I exposed. I found out about the castle in 1991 when I was working with people that were trying to get out of the Illuminati. These were people that had done rituals in the castle and knew about it.
By the way, let me stop you. Again, I didn't believe your book when I first read it. And then the Sunday Times of London came out with a separate castle in Burgundy where all these women escaped, and the cops got there, and there were a bunch of dead women and women in cages. And it turned out it went to the top leaders of France, so the whole thing got shut down. But this actually came out in the news after I read your book years later. I saw the same stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, folks, and I'm like, oh, Fritz Springmeier, this goes too far. And then I see it in the news. It's just, God help us. Stay right there. Fritz Springmeier is our guest. And I got those congressional hearings where they're asking Rumsfeld, well, DynCorp runs these child kidnapping rings. Are you going to do anything about that? And he goes, no. They were given a 1-year penalty on these contracts in that area of Europe. Well, no one goes to jail? And he goes, no. I mean, folks, oh, man, I tell you. I continue to mean to plug some of our new affiliates, and I will do that at the start of the next hour. But I am opening the phones up for Genesis listeners. If you would like to call in and ask a question of Fritz Springmeier, we haven't opened the phone system up yet, I noticed, but I'm opening it now. I'd love to hear from you. Questions for Fritz Springmeier, 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. Okay, going back to the author of Bloodlines of the Illuminati, an incredible book, and it's a Dallas phone book size full of documents and photos. You're not going to be able to put this book down. Fritz, continuing from that point, you've gotten to that being in the European press, the satanic rituals, the police, the judges, the report of the royal family. They're always finding dead bodies. They just found a new dead teenager on Queen Elizabeth's property right by her house the other day. It's just a routine thing, but please continue. Yes.
Earlier you asked about some of the names of their gods. Within the women's branch, we were talking about the Mother of Darkness castle there near Monroe, Belgium. And the kind of rituals that will go on there will be hierarchy rituals. These are high-level rituals. And these Illuminati members are programmed multiples. They're multiple personalities. So they have personalities that take part in the rituals. One, like for the women, there's a triad goddess system where it's maiden, mother, and crone. And a lot of these things actually are around us, and we don't even realize it. Like one of the crone figures, Calich, another one of her names is Caledonia. Another crone that's related to Calich is Cali. And California is the sea hag.
California's the sea hag. It's all about gods and goddesses. Just like Eulogia at Skull and Bones, it's admitted they worship Eulogia there, which is a hag. But I mean, let's continue to break this down. It's just incredible. You're saying this, it sounds wild, but it's all right there if you've done the research.
Yes, and once you start realizing that there's this whole substrata around us that of this occult world, there's occult symbology all around us.
And they're not just programming us, animal psychology, Pavlovian psychology. This isn't new. It's just a modern packaging. They themselves come from a programming cult. That's what these rituals are. Ancients learned mind control. That's why every ancient society tortured, had human sacrifice, made the king sometimes kill his own kids. It's all about the priest class totally dominating. Continue with the women and then the men, but who's at the head of it? Continue.
Well, within the women's branch, they have Grand Dame, and that's the final level. You have these families, and there's 5 inner families, and then there's 13 top families, and then in the next ring you have like 500 inner families. And it's like peeling back an onion. There's, you've got the inner core that works through the next level, next level, next level. And so you have all of these rituals, all these committees, councils of 13, a Sanhedrin of 70. You've got so many different organizations. And one thing...
Notice the Super Congress is 12 members of the Congress and the President the 13th. Again, always counterfeiting Christ.
Yeah, they enjoy that number 13 for these councils. So, let's see.
Continuing, you were getting into the different, you were talking about the Sanhedrin.
Yeah, I was discussing how there's not one person is running the show like we would think, because what happens is you're born into this, and you're as somebody who's been born in, even if you rise to the top and even if you have a lot of power, you're still signing on to the plan. The plan was created, it's a group thing. And it's something that's been going on for a long time. So they have long-range plans. So these agendas aren't just snap decisions. The idea that there would be a third world war has been around for over 200 years.
Oh, all the top Masons and Illuminati people like Weishaupt wrote books about it, as you know, in 1770s. Right. They even described the 3 wars, yeah.
Yeah, so these things are 10-year plans, 30-year plans, 50-year plans, 100-year plans. They have these long-range plans, and then they have these systems to bring them about. Going back to how the control filters down, they've divided life into 6 major areas. They take what God uses to sustain the world, truth, love, and things like this. And there's a twisting of those things, and they make a system out of it. So therefore, you end up with the healthcare system, the political system, the financial system like Wall Street, the banking system. You have a system of control. And so to get these necessities of life that we feel we need, we end up linking ourselves to these powerful controlling systems.
It's about overthrowing creation, becoming God, taking things over, so we have to go to them as if they're God, and we're born into a giant lie, not just mind control, but a physical lie. That's how they try to take free will away.
Exactly. You said it better than I did.
No, I didn't. No, you're absolutely right, but continue on this line.
Well said. That's exactly. And so from the time we're born into this system, and it systematically controls us and steals our freedom, and all the while telling us, oh, you're free, you're this or that, you're making the decisions, Yeah, like the American people, how often have I heard people say, well, you shouldn't complain about your president because we were the ones that elected him. No, people, you didn't elect that president.
They select who you can then pick from, and then even that's a fraud. That's why Ron Paul is kind of showing that it's all theater, because he is one of the only real people to come along in a very long time. And we see the system together acting as one to ignore him, to lie about him, to spin. I think this has really revealed to people just how lockstep the corporate whore media is. But in that, why is the system losing a lot of power right now, Fritz? From my research, their system is not, right as they get close to getting everything they've wanted, right here at the end, right at the jump point where they're supposed to go from incremental to fast, things are not going well. Things are getting out of control for them. Do you agree with that assessment?